Hi, artists and sweet ladies who will watch this later. We just wanted to let you know we are focused on finishing our keynote, our Keystone keynote today with the topic, either your one big message sentence that you're going to tweak into a beautiful title or your title, your hook, and then your three main points with the 5 S's, your signature story, your signature stat, your signature quote, blah, 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 whatever that might be that you're adding in. And then your call to action, your testimonials, and your call to action at the bottom, and then being able to wrap that all up with a nice, big, pretty bow. This is the goal. The reason why is because you're going to take this keynote and in everything you do. So Wendy Jones just talked about, she's got a youth speaking assignment next month, and then she's got a Stake Relief Society speaking in March. I want to make the point that you will take your keynote and you will now adapt it to whatever audience you are speaking to, because most likely it's an eternal concept and everybody needs it in some fashion. It's just you're going to adapt it to that audience. I was just on with the NSA. We have our weekly meetings in the National Speaking Association. We had Dino Watts, who is making millions and who is signature globally. And he was giving advice. And one of the ladies said, I've got this, I speak about this, and now they want me to talk about disabilities, but I talk about being able to be a warrior in the face of blah, blah, blah. And he said, tell me what your key points are in your keynote. So she shared it. And he said, that's exactly the same thing as dealing with disabilities. Can you see the connection? So don't change your keynote. Take your keynote and adjust and adapt to your audience. So I want you to consider, what is your one big message? What's your 3 key points? And first and foremost, in the chat, if you want to type it or if you just want to say it, because Amanda's driving, what is your one signature goal? We're going to say it every week. What is your ultimate one big goal for the speaking track in 12 weeks? What's your one big goal? So either put it in the chat or say it. Quick, quick, time is wasting.
Connie, can you give me an example? Like, what do you mean by our one big speech?
You know, in this 12 weeks, you're like, I need to have a killer keynote. I got to have my Keystone keynote. So that's it. Okay, so Wendy Christensen just said, I want to have 3 keynotes ready to go. That's her goal for the 12 weeks. The reason why I'm making you do this, not making you, but asking you, compelling you, encouraging, persuading, inviting, is because this needs to stay top of mind every week, because life's going to get in the way. And you're exactly right. When you have every justification, so do I. It's a crazy, crazy week. And we still need to put the drops in the bucket, right? Some weeks we'll put 2, 3 cups in. Some weeks it's just a little drop, but we need to keep the traction going. So what is that at the end of 12 weeks? You can look back and go, I'm so glad I did this track because I got that goal done. What's that one goal? Wendy Jones, what does that look like?
I want to do, and I want to have a mini keynote that can be absolutely driven home to LDS women, but that can flip and go to non-LDS Christian women.
Love, 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 love. This is excellent. Okay, and this is that's super slick to do. That's really great. Okay, and then artists will find out from her, and Amanda, when she hops back on, because she's driving, here she comes, then she'll let us know. So it's really important that you focus on that. There's going to be a lot of things you could focus on right now, and it can get overwhelming. So focus down on what will help you accomplish that goal in 12 weeks. And Wendy, on your 3 keynotes, I would encourage you to make that feasible in 12 weeks. I would make your 3 keynotes out of your 3 points. Is that what you're planning on? Those 3 points, or are you wanting to do 3 completely different ones?
I don't know yet. I'm thinking, I'm
processing. I would encourage, pray about it, but I would encourage you to make your 3 keynotes from the one signature, make your one signature, and then pull 2 more from one of those 3 under sub points, because you're going to want to do something more with this keynote, the signature keynote that you have. You want to be able to do trainings and workshops. Each one of those points could be a 3-hour workshop. It could be a leadership point that you're teaching. It could be for youth that you're doing, Wendy. It could be one of those points that may be better adaptable for that particular audience, but it's still keeping you aligned and branded in what you're talking about. So that's really important. You don't want to go off on strange roads if you can help it. Okay. All right. So Amanda, do you have a goal for the 12 weeks that you know?
Yeah. So mine is 5 keynotes, but so I already have my 5 keynotes and I've already done them. So each day is a training, but now I want to take those 5 points and turn it into one signature keynote. So that's what I want to work on. Is I have my 5 and I want to finesse them and have them be standalones, but then I also want to package them up into my signature keynote.
Okay, that makes sense. You're kind of reverse engineering. So you're taking the 5 trainings that you have, and now you want to encapsulate them into one signature keystone keynote, so that when you go to districts and you're introducing the concept, you're pitching it, that really is your pitching keynote. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll call it your pitch keynote. I love it. That's great. Okay, fantastic. That helps you and me to know what you need to stay focused on every week. Okay, on the speaking, tell me what your one big message, each of you, and then your 3 key points are. Just go around and just share them.
Can you say that again? Say that again.
What's your one big message? Like, what's your, like, for example, artist would be healing through generational gardening. So she's going to either use that as a title, or she'll make it more of a blingy title. I love that title, by the way, but it would be more like, you want to qualify it. 3 steps to healing through generational gardening, right? You want to have something that's got urgency. You want to have something that's got qualifying. So something that's going to make it more exciting, more whatever. We'll talk about titles. I will actually send you, I've got a great website that if you type in the title, it will give you a percentage of, yes, this is a good title, or no, it isn't. And it's great. You can just keep playing with it until you hit about 60 to 75%. That's really high. Hitting 80 to 90 or 100% is almost unheard of, 100% on this website, because it's really hard to get one that's just like, that would work for everybody. But if you can hit about 60 to 70% on that, it's a really good title. So I will send the website to you so that we don't take time on that right now. And that you can do your title check. Okay, but you want to have, you've got to know the title of your keynote, not the blingy title, but your one big message of that keynote, because that's what's going to determine your 3 points underneath. So who has a one big message with 3 points that they can share? Amanda.
Okay, so mine is, am I really feedbacky, or am I okay? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm okay.
good.
Mine is, I teach tools and programs to administrators and educators to identify student need, intervene with an instructional match, and inspire confidence at all levels and for every individual, so all can grow for their potential. So that's my message. And then I have 5 key points that I do. And the first one is identifying the student need, figuring out what disability is, just kind of that overview. And then the instructional match. And then, okay, so my 3 big points, but then I have 5 things that go into that. I need to work on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so the main things to me are, first you share what is a disability and what does that look and feel like. And then that's where you have them have a disability.
Yeah. So the first one is walk a moment in my shoes. That's my first one. And then the next one is know what it is, know what you're looking for. And then day 3 is find me. And that one is my identification. And then the next one is the instructional match. And then the next one is, let's see, what day am I on? I'm on day 4. The next one is show me how. So that one is where we're implementing. And then the next one is writing legally defensible IEPs to stand up in court.
Okay, I have thoughts. Did you guys see how masterfully she did that? 1, she has a very clear title of what she's doing. And 2nd, she could rip off 5 key points. That means that those will be memorable to the people that she is doing this with as well. And she had 5 key points, but they would be very sort of legalese and very lingo-ish, but she put them into very clear layman's terms. Walk in my shoes, know what it is, find me, make an instructional match, or whatever that, instructional match, and then show me how. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I would encourage you to not, unless you feel strongly, do not include the writing the legal briefs. That would be the bonus if they join your course or something like that, because that really doesn't fit in that 5-day. I mean, it does, and it would be good for them to have. But with this last step of show me how, can you see how perfectly that fits? That last day of anything, 5-day challenge of a course or anything you want to do, you want to lead them to more of you, because it's not just trying to sell someone. You've got a ton more that you know they need to know, but they've got to feel the need to know it. So on that last day, show me how. I'm going to show you how. I can show you how to do writing legal briefs. I can show you how to do blah. I can show you how to do all these things. Give them like 5 things of your course, 7 things in your course that you're going to be able to show them how to do, and show them that you need to know how to do this. If you want to be able to effectively do this with your students or with your administrators, you need to know how to do these 7 things. And that's what you would show them on the day of show me how. And you could take them through one of them if you wanted to, but you've already done 4 days of training. So they already know, or on that 5th day, you're going to take them through the training. Make it more, in my opinion, make it more of like a Costco sample. So teach them some things, but make it a Costco sample of this is what you actually need to know on a higher level. So I've given you 101. You need to go to 201 to make this more effective. And then you'll know that an X amount of people from that group is going to go and leapfrog into that next level because they'll be wanting it and ready for it. Does that make sense? Okay. So for you guys looking at your points, look at it that same way. This is level 101. What is it that you can do in those 3 points? You want a Costco sample. There's kind of 2 schools of thought. In the signature keynote, you can take one concept that you have that is super signature, that is super amazing. And let me segue for a moment even farther. If you want the whole thing you want to do is signature. So what does signature mean in what way? Well, there's 3 ways for sure that you want to be signature. Signature in yourself, signature in your idea, and signature in your approach. So you can see and put them in priority order. Which one do you think you're more signature in? Is it that you're more of a signature self? I'm upbeat, or, there's a Phil Gerbershank. He always has the red glasses and the purple outfit. People know him. Guy Vaynerchuk, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about. In marketing, he's really signature because he's so out there and he's like larger than life. In marketing, it's guerrilla marketing. That was really signature when they came up with this idea of signature marketing. So you got signature self, signature idea. Guerrilla marketing is like, you want to do marketing and we're going to do it guerrilla style, guerrilla warfare. And they did this whole series on it. It's the simple something for dummies, right? You're taking this really normal idea of just make things simple, but they had a signature idea. I'm going to put it into these books that will just be like, here's this for dummies. So beautiful. And that bleeds over into approach. When you see a yellow book that says something for dummies, you know what that series is, right? So your signature approach. Joanna Gaines does home design, home and hearth, but she does it in such a signature way. When you go down to Waco, Texas, you step onto the property and it's all these little shops and they have a church and they're unabashed about you can go in and sit and you can ponder and have this kind of beautiful experience. They have a signature approach to it where they involve their family rather than pretend that they're just beautiful and there's nothing else going on in the back end. It's all just lovely. So think about for yourself, signature idea, signature approach, signature self. Which one of those do you think is the most signature that you want to kind of lead with? Now, bring that back to your signature keystone keynote. In that keynote, you can either take this one signature concept and you can emphasize the one concept through that keynote, or you can Costco sample 3 ideas, the 3 main outcomes that you have. I personally like Costco sampling 3 different ideas, but then I'm not a go down deep person like that. So you have to do what would work best for you. I was just deep diving with Marnie and she said, well, 5-day challenge, I think I want to do more of just this one concept and just take it through the 5-day challenge because she's more of a deeper person. So think what works better for you. On those 3 points, are they going back to your one signature concept, one signature idea, or are they giving you 3 Costco sample things? And then people can go, ooh, I want more of those 3 things. I want to hire her for more of trainings or workshops or other keynotes on those other concepts. Does that make sense? So let's decide right now, which way are you guys going? Do you want 3 points that are all under one signature concept, or do you want to have 3 Costco sample things of 3 keynotes that you could do? Quick, just unmute and share.
I have no idea. Like this
Okay,
is
no worries.
This is going to be major homework for me.
Okay. In my opinion, look at your audience avatar and look at your message, and then what's the best way to get that to your audience avatar? Are your audience avatar, your women, the type that want to hear one concept and kind of go deeper and really feel traction in that moment? Or are they the type that want a little bit of a charcuterie board and they want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but they feel the traction in what you're giving them? So for example, when I'm talking about purpose in my keynote, I talk about purpose changes everything. You can see this in your guidebook. Purpose changes everything. I give them something that they can actually take, create their purpose statement right there. Now we don't finish it, but we open a file drawer And then I give them something else. And then I give them something else. So when they leave, they've been triggered. They've already had a catalyst for purpose does change everything. I've noticed that I'm getting ideas I'm writing down. I'm sharing ideas with the person next to me, and I want more direction. I want more help. Who can help me narrow this down and get this solid? Because she's saying, if you have a solid purpose and identity statement, that's 50% of the battle. And then you'll be able to move forward on what the Lord wants you to do and what errand he has you on. Does that make sense? So think about your audience avatar and where you want to lead them. Do you want to lead them to your retreats, to your course? Well, if you want to lead them there, you're not going to give them everything because they're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to give them enough of a sample that's going to feel like this feels really good. I want more. So I don't want to spend more time on that. I want to spend time on, if you need to pray about that, no worries, no stress. Pray about what that keystone looks like. And for right now, Wendy Jones, if you're feeling like these are the keynotes that are before me, go with top of mind. Go with the keynote right now. You can work out your signature keynote another time, but make sure you've got those concepts in the keynotes that you're delivering this week, whether it's to leadership or to your retreat. Make sure it's got those concepts. Okay.
I mean, this week I really do present. I present 4 times. If you take off my leadership, I welcome everybody, and it's all about making a choice, like drawing a hard line. Like this weekend, I am making a choice to kick Satan out of the car. I'm getting in the driver's seat and I'm putting Christ in the navigation seat. I literally, from the very beginning, I welcome them to the sister project. And like, from this moment, you do not let Satan drive the car anymore. Like we are behind the driver's seat. And so I do a little 15-minute thing on that. Then the second one that I do on the second day, later that afternoon, I do the mapping. So it's all about absolutely seeking for words in your patriarchal blessing that your own their Father in heaven used about you, so that they understand, oh my gosh, I am a powerful person. I have no reason to let Satan keep navigating me. I am incredible. And then the next day I teach them a class on personal revelation, because I feel like once people understand how powerful they are, then they feel worthy to listen to the messages that they're giving.
I love. Okay, what I'm hearing from you is the first one is you're really teaching them this lens, this new lens shift, and their purpose is to focus on Christ. That's it. They're to focus on Christ, and then all things will be made clear. So have a couple of quotes that just talk about the importance of focusing on Christ, period. Right? And all things will be added to you. Second, mapping. That's their identity. They are seeing their place in the plan. So find all the quotes you can on seeing their place in the plan. I plead to my sisters, the ones in the most recent conference. See your place in the plan, right? You have a place, see what it is. And then that third one is, maybe the second one is, you have a place in the plan. And the third one is, get your mission. What is your place in the plan? See what it is for you, right? So now you've got, there is a plan. Christ is the one that's the spearheader of it. Follow him and he'll lead you along. Second is, you have a place in that plan. You are noble. You are one of the great ones. And then third is, get your mission call. What is that mission for you? I don't know, something like that. But then it's just clear. Does that make sense? You're muted.
What is so cool is I'm really taking that kind of an approach when we teach the youth at the youth conference, but we're calling it finding your superpower, because we know that kids are all into superheroes and stuff. So yes. And so my husband's kind of doing his thing and I'm doing my thing, but they really play off well each other. But it'll really be about digging into understanding who God is. And for those of you that have your patriarchal blessings, look for keywords in your blessings and that kind of thing. Then when I do the Relief Society conference, they're asking me to come and talk about helping women understand who they are. So I'm going to touch on patriarchal blessings, and then they want me to weave it into how that helps you serve others. And then it's crazy. It's a really long story, but we did a sex trafficking breakfast on Saturday morning, and we met with some of the people that run the Dream Center, which is amazing. They're taking girls off the streets and rehabilitating them. And some of these girls are like now the director of the program. And so when she came over and said, "Who are you guys?" And I said, "I want you to meet my sister project team. This is what we do. We teach power tools." She goes, "Can you come and teach my sex trafficking victims how to use power tools and make over a space so they can see how you can take something ugly and turn it into something beautiful?" And I was like, heck yes. But they're also very Christian. And so I really think we can use it in a Christian way without using the LDS lingo, and talk about how God transforms us by helping us understand our identity. So I think I can use this keynote in all different ways.
Absolutely. I absolutely see you do it in the 3, and that service reveals, right? The service reveals who you are, and it connects you with people who can help you move forward and find your mission. So beautiful points, and easily Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, all of those, Eleanor Roosevelt, all of those great, credible people all have quotes on transformation. So you could just look up quotes on transformation by high notable or high profile people, and you could find a bunch of quotes on that you could just plug in. And I would say, I know you won't, but I am a second witness. You don't have to shy away from scripture, especially New Testament, anything in the Old Testament, but you don't have to shy away from anything. Like, as a man thinketh, so is he. That's in Proverbs. You can hit some of those Psalms, some of those ones that are really well known that will find common ground. And you can even throw in a Book of Mormon or a Doctrine and Covenants. People don't really even seem to care. And this is who you are. You're not trying to slide something in, but you're just saying, this is who I am, and I bring in all things. For a while, I was doing my You Got This women, and I would do everybody else, but I noticed I wasn't really emphasizing the prophet stuff. But I have noticed when I do quotes from the prophet or the Quorum of the 12, and the leaders, sister leaders, they love them. They're like, who's Bonnie Cordon? So just so you know, don't shy away from completely knocking that out, but just in weaving it in. I love it. I think that's beautiful. And I think these points, they are across the board. And the way that you just said to adjust it for the youth is fantastic. That's exactly it. I love it. So maybe find the poppy ways. Like, it sounds like you got the poppy ways to do Christ in the driver's seat and the mapping for the second. So I kind of flipped it where the mapping is the exercise, but the thing that you're doing is seeing their place in the plan. So maybe make that a clear, thing that you emphasize. You see your place in the plan or whatever. And
maybe I could make it focused on since I just barely noticed this, but it's all kind of about driving. Like you said, it's like it could be putting Christ in the passenger, like in the navigation seat, and get behind the wheel. So it's kind of committing to Christ. The second one is mapping. So it's knowing how you're going to get, knowing how you're going to get there. It's mapping. And then maybe the third one, you said finding your mission. We could call that gas. What kind of gas are you putting in your tank to get there?
I love, or you could even have it be GPS, like the Spirit. When you say Christian revelation,
because it's revelation.
You're
GPS.
getting the direction.
Yes.
But I love the idea of you add in somewhere about the gas, because there's that quote from Gary Stevenson in this last one where he said, wasn't it this last conference, the one before, where he said that you can't get it's Brad Wilcox. You can't take a long trip on one tank of gas. You got to keep stopping and filling up, right? And then it's Lindsay Robbins, who talks about in his talk, what happens if you try to get from California to Utah and you stay in neutral? And he said, you can't get there, right? He makes that point. And he kind of uses a lot of analogies in that talk. So I would check the Lindsay Robbins one. That would be, I love this. That's a nice woven red thread that Tamsin Webster talks about. That's your red thread. Wait, it's mute.
Renlund also did that talk recently at BYU where he talks about going up the mountain slowly, and if you go, and then you could slide back down.
Yes, beautiful way to connect those. Oh my gosh, these are all gorgeous. Goosebumps. Absolutely. See the synergy? This is what makes a signature keynote. And it's satisfying to the listener because you're pulling in from these different things that validate this concept. And when they leave, they're going to get in their car. And what are they going to do? They're going to remember because they're in the driver's seat and make that point. Choose your repeater phrase. You're in the driver's seat, right? Or Christ is in the driver's seat, or Christ is the vehicle to get where you want to go. You have to be the one that chooses which direction you're going to turn or whatever. So make sure your analogy is sound, and then make sure that you keep repeating a repeater phrase. You're in the driver's seat. Christ is a vehicle, whatever it might be. Keep those repeater phrases so that when they get in the car, Pixar is genius at this. Good songwriters are genius at this. That's where you go with Pixar, go, let it go. How many times after you watch Frozen, did you say to someone, oh yeah, let it go? And you're like, yeah, cue the song, right? They have these signature phrases that into the unknown that people say so that when they say it, it's a trigger for that song. So think of something that's an everyday parable like the Savior does, like you're doing, Wendy Jones. I'm going to call you Wendy J, if you don't mind. So Wendy J, but I love that you got something that would be a signature everyday thing that they could look at, they could see. Chiko Kazaki is a master of that. She pulls in all those visual aids that are things that women would use and recognize or remember. Love it. Wendy Christensen, what do you got? Do you need anything else, Wendy J? Do you feel good? Do you feel like I feel clear?
And this is helping me because today is my day. My parents are in town. They've got dinner tonight. They're helping me pick up kids, and I have all day. I'm seriously in my bedroom on my computer I am seriously going to tweak my entire presentation so it's a little tighter than it was at my last retreat. So I am so good. I'm golden.
And
Thank
you
you.
can take these pieces and just chunk them. That would be your chunkables, your chewable
Yep.
chunks that you're just going to do it each day. And so you're done. You're good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Love. And then of course I would just add on, you're going to do this, but slides that show, don't tell. That would be the picture, right? Someone driving, long roads, signs, whatever.
Okay. Okay, I got it. I'm on it.
Love.
Thank you.
Okay. Wendy
Okay.
C. Okay, hang on one sec. Let me grab my water bottle. Keep talking. I can hear you.
Great. It sounds awesome, Wendy. You're going to do great.
Okay.
So I did a bunch of brainstorming, but I'm having a hard time. Well, I'll tell you what I've got. So I did some brainstorming with keynotes, and I'm having a hard time narrowing it down. So I've got just a few things like, for example, listening to the spirit in our lives, the power of positive thinking, the power of forgiveness, gratitude, the power of gratitude. I've given talks on love languages. And then I've got this whole thing about suicidal warning signs and what to do. And I'm actually speaking to a group of 500 parents on February 2nd, 1st or 2nd, I don't remember. And it's all about suicidal warning signs and then how to ask the question and persuade them. It's called QPR, asking the question, persuade, and refer. But that's a whole presentation that's already put together for me but it's going to be, I've never talked to a group of 500 people doing it before, so I'm a little bit nervous about that.
It's the same as talking to 5, only slightly different. But yes, that's beautiful. I am so excited for you. For your personal keynote, so it sounds to me like you have a few areas. So you talk to the suicide community, right?
Mhm.
And then you
Right.
know you talk to everyday women who are struggling with, what would you say are the top 3 things they're struggling with?
Well, I actually wrote down 3 titles that I had just thought of. One, I survived, now what? Because so many survived trauma, whatever that trauma is, sorry. So whatever that trauma may be. And then perfectly imperfect is another one that I thought of, because there are so many people I also talk to, women that still believe that they have to be perfect in everything. And then the other one was thoughts. That's all they are. So those are just 3 titles I kind of thought of, but I find that a lot of us believe, we believe these thoughts that aren't true, that are often very negative. Those are just a few. I can also talk about grief, stages of grief in any situation, how to survive a faith crisis.
You could talk about so many things. And I think that's where you are getting that kind of like, well, I don't know which one to focus down on. Let's go back to your one big message and your audience avatar. What is your one big message right now? You'll have lots of satellite things, but what's your one big message right now?
So I feel like it's talking to the women of the church, because I feel like I get I get such a wide variety of people, but ultimately I think I would say the majority of people seek me out because I'm an LDS therapist.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I would say it goes back to my releasing pain, renewing hope, and restoring light, because that's the concept I teach. The 3-step concept I teach is forgiveness, to be able to let go, action steps. What do I need to take action? What do I do? And then gratitude, which is bringing that light back in. So that's why I did the release pain, renew hope, and restore light, because I teach those 3 concepts all the time. So forgive, action, and gratitude.
I love. So in those beautiful titles, which I love, by the way, which one do you feel like, or do you feel like you need to pull from all 3 of those potential titles and put them into one keynote? Because I'm looking at, if you want, where do you want to lead people? It's to therapy, right? To do a session with you, or is it to a course and community?
Well, I've been feeling the tug to write a book.
What?
Yeah, and I'm thinking I could connect the book to online courses.
For
So
sure.
I'm trying to kind of work it all out in my mind, how I could do it all.
Well, do it a piece at a time. So
Right.
the speaking, and then you lead them to the book, which can lead them to the online course, which leads them to the community. Or you can lead them to the community, which leads them to the course, which leads them to a book, right? a general, I mean, you can do it any way you want, but a good general thing is either a book or a course. So you're actually transforming them. The community is more of a support tool so that people can come in and they can post, they can share. But if you really want to transform, you want to lead them to something that's going to transform. So what would be the vehicle that could transform them the best or the most?
I think that it's going to be online courses, but also a book.
Okay.
Eventually, a book. I don't feel like a book will move as quickly.
I agree. I think an online course, you would actually jump in and have that course and community. You would create the course as you go, which would, in essence, it would fine tune that book. So by the time you actually did do the book, you would have online modules that could go with that book, or you could have the course. You say, hey, you want the book, then get the course, and you could use the book as a loss leader, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds to me like you're feeling, so do you feel like you want to work on the online course first? Are you the type that likes to pre-record your stuff, or do you like to record it as you go?
I like to record it as I go.
Okay, then that's perfect for a course. So I would encourage you to do the course. That's going to get you more immediate people, ROI, all of that stuff. It's just more immediate. And the book you could be working on in the background from the sessions and the course things that you do. In your book, you can use examples. One lady that we worked with, that I worked with, blah, 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 and you can put those examples in your book. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think with your speaking, lead them to an online course. So the next speaking assignment is how soon?
So I'm trying to line up my retreat in April.
Okay. So speaking retreat in April, but I'm talking about your keynotes right now. You have one in February. What's the date on that?
It's Wednesday. I think it's the 2nd. It's either the 1st
So it's soon. Okay, so February 2nd. So it's bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? What are you going to lead your February 2nd? Is that the 500 people? Okay. Where do you want to lead them? You never want to do a keynote just as a one-off. Where are you leading them when you do that keynote?
Well, this one, because it's suicide oriented and it's Hope Squad, it's leading them to Hope Squad.
That's perfect. But in the examples that you give, is there anything that you can lead them to either? I mean, right now, since you don't have a course, it sounds like a session or something like that, right? So think about when you are writing this keynote or the title of it, what can you do that establishes you as credible and that also they see you as you personally help those people who need those specific things, that specific case, that specific help, right? And that would definitely lend itself to it. If you're doing this thing about suicide prevention, you could be talking about, I had a client, he was having these problems, or the parents didn't know. Look at the pain points of the parents that are listening. I don't know what to do. He's so far gone. She won't talk to me. She won't communicate. Think about clients that you've had and the parents brought them in and you were able to help them identify their emotions, help them to communicate, help them to come back from the ledges, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I can easily throw that in. I usually throw in stories because a lot of it was when I was a school social worker. We worked with this person, we worked with this person, we helped the parents with this. And I recently helped parents. For example, I had a young man who he took a shotgun out and went out into a field and they tracked him down and I worked with him afterwards. They were able to stop him. Police found him, got him in, and I was able to work with him and his parents.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. You know what? And again, I know that there's such a line of exploitation. You don't want to exploit. What you're focused on is these parents are desperate. They need to know where they can go for help. If that was my situation and my son did try that years ago, I would need to know who can I trust, who can I talk to. So when you share those experiences, I love your awareness. Don't share the ones necessarily from the school so much, but the ones of where you were working with individual clients. Give those parents hope and establish yourself as that credibility that you are an expert that can help bring them back from the ledges, because that's where you're at now. And that's the clients that you're taking. And they're still going to be led to Hope Squad. Everything you're talking about leads them to Hope Squad. So you don't need to worry about that. I also love if you could identify, like I said, those parent pain points to make sure that your stories align with what those are that can fill those needs. I love that you would share a story like that because that's brutal and parents are at that place. If it's appropriate, which I was just sharing, I think it's appropriate. Benjamin Hardy ghost wrote for Dan Sullivan, the Who Not How, and he put in David A. Bednar, president of Rick's College, right? So in the conference issue, there's that talk on mental health, and he talks about their son trying to commit suicide and how they were able to pull him back from the ledges. You could even go through and look at that because doctrine influences, it impacts. So anytime you can share a conference quote or a script or something, that really will set the tone and the spirit will be able to reach these people. So maybe check out.
Who was it? Which one was that?
My conference issue is, hang on, it's right here. Did I put it in the other room? No, it's right here. It's a mental health one. What's his name?
Oh,
It's the
I think I remember, hearing that.
I'm trying to remember what his name is. I've got these marked, but I don't have like who the person was. I just have the little tabs. But let me I'll look under mental health or something.
I can go back and look at my
Healing.
notes too.
Mental health, page 36, I think.
Okay.
Yep, it's 36. Addressing mental health. It's Eric Kopishki. It's page 36 in the conference issue. And
Okay.
he talks about, he says, I cannot describe the countless miracles accompanied with these events. Gratefully, our son survived, but it's taken a lot of medical, therapeutic, and spiritual care. And being able to maybe address, there's probably mostly Latter-day Saint people that are going to be showing up to this thing, right?
Well, and one of we show videos, and one of the videos is actually from the church, and I cut it off right before, but it's that beautiful one where he talks about, I chose to stay. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've heard of it. Yes, my sweet Chelsea told me about it because she's watched and read through all of those things. I love, if you can't like share something and it will resonate with those people that they will be able to go, you know what, it's okay for me. Like he addresses the thing of they felt less than, they felt they were looking at other people like what will people think of us and things like that. I think that's beautiful. I don't know if there's any place in that QPR one, but I think that is a really important thing of this is not about you. This is not about what people think. This is about your child and whatever help they need. Therapy is necessary. Medical care is necessary. Spiritual care is necessary. Whatever your beliefs or belief system is, there needs to be these pieces. And you can even say studies show that these pieces are necessary for healing and overcoming this. And again, that lends to the LDS piece for you of I'm a Latter-day Saint counselor. And immediately, do you see how you're hitting all those anchor points that you would want to say out loud, but it's a show, don't tell.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So in your keynote, let's just take that, the QPR one is laid out. So you can just do stories and that's how you can kind of do a workaround on that. If you're speaking to women, a group of women,
Yes.
would you prefer, I think what might work better for you is having an umbrella, a keynote umbrella of your one big message of the release, renew, and restore. And then in that release, renew, and restore, I would imagine has those forgiveness, action, and gratitude, right? So
Right.
I think it would be wise for you to do those 3 buzzwords and then do a little Costco sample, a little snippet of each one of those. So like some exercise of forgiveness, a little the studies show that forgiveness, blah, 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 and have a signature story that emphasizes that. Not one that everybody knows, but a signature story. Maybe it's a client that you worked with or whatever, because that's a twofer, because that establishes your role as credible. But a client that you worked with, when they start pulling out stories that are so familiar, it just people turn off.
Yeah.
So forgiveness, and then the next one would be the action step. You can renew hope with an action, and then restore light. That would be that gratitude, right? Staying in a space of gratitude. How does that shift the experience when the experience isn't shifting? What can gratitude do? And give some kind of a concrete signature story and then a stat or a quote that follows with that. That would be my feeling. But again, you'll know a better way or a more aligned way maybe that would work for you, because these other ones are all good. You can bring in thoughts. You can bring the perfectly imperfect. Those are all good keynotes that you could be working on. And like you said, you want to do 3. I really like them. Then reverse engineer. If you have perfectly imperfect, I wanted to talk today about, we'll talk next time about more things, because the keynote is the most important thing. But I talk about contrast, and Steal the Show guy, the guy that wrote Steal the Show, he talks about the importance of contrast. This is what makes the movies. Pixar does a great job with this. They'll take a character and they look like this way, but then their weakness is actually so opposite, or their hidden dream is so opposite, right? So like in Tangled, the big guy that's got missing teeth and he's got tattoos and everything, he wants to be a concert pianist. You know, it's all happy and sweet or whatever. He's crocheting, right? So they take these contrasts. So I would encourage you to look in your keynote for those contrasts. So maybe like perfectly imperfect. I love that contrast. Maybe even add in something. Are we commanded to be we're commanded to be perfectly imperfect? Or like, you know how Elder Holland did perfection pending? Was that it? Or was that President Nelson? Oh, President Nelson did perfection pending, and Elder Holland did be ye therefore perfect eventually. Do you see the contrast? So now that's interesting. Like, okay, perfectly imperfect. And then I would add the tagline after, 3 steps to fulfill the commandment right now with who you are, or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? They're going to think this is something way down the road, and I don't know how I can ever do that. And you're going to say, it's right now. It's today. It's who you are.
Okay.
So I love that. And that could be, but within that keynote of perfectly imperfect, what are going to be those steps? Forgiveness, got to take an action, and gratitude. Like, you're going to have those same chewable chunks of that keynote. You're going to need to release pain. You're going to need to renew hope. You're going to need to restore light. And maybe in those things, you do say perfectly imperfect. This is how you're going to restore light with this perfectly imperfect thing. You're going to let go. You're going to forgive yourself. Maybe, you know, whatever. But whatever that is, you can move them around just to make sure you've got those key pieces, and you can just move the chewable chunks.
Okay. That makes sense.
So you're not really creating 3 new keynotes. You're just adjusting.
Because I could even do that in talking about like grief in any situation, like stages of grief, whether that's through divorce or whether that's through an actual death. And I could still pull in the forgiveness, the action, and the gratitude.
Bingo. Okay. Because everything requires that, right? Everything.
Yeah. Even surviving a faith crisis, I pull it in. Even people who leave the church, I'm still using those 3 things for helping them to get through it.
Love it. And all you would need to do now is choose signature engaging approaches to how you would share that. So maybe in this one keynote, because you want people to come to your keynotes more than once. You want them to follow you and be like, I want to learn. I want to figure this out. I want to transform. So, I mean, follow you so they can follow Christ. You know what I'm saying? But you want them to become part of your community. So you don't want to keep using the same examples, the same engaging activities. So start thinking of, well, for like she was saying with Marvel, their activity they would do with that group is going to be different than what she's going to do with the women at the retreat, even though they're going to do the same concept. So think of some signature stories, some signature experiences, some signature activities that you could say in each one of those 3 keynotes. Ooh, that would be a really good one for that audience, for the women. That would be a really good one for the suicide prevention.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
You bet. Do you have any other questions or anything you need to? We want to final and finesse this keynote this week. So anything that you have any questions on to better do that, or anything you're stumped on that we can synergize?
No, but when I go back to my main goal for the 12 weeks, I think what I want to do is solidify those 3 main key points so that I can talk to different subjects, just like you were saying.
Bingo. Solidify that keystone keynote that would be the one go-to, so that then you can take those 3 pieces and you can just now put a different title, different hook, and different emphasis, so you can adjust it, but it's the same concepts.
Okay.
Beautiful. Does this feel more doable?
It does. Yeah. It has more direction for me.
Good.
So what I'd like to do is get that more solidified. I want to be able to do another healing retreat. And so I think I can work that out.
I love that.
So I'm good to go and everything's ready. So I'd like to have it all ready so that I can just kind of slide it right into the retreat and just have it all ready for the retreat.
And easy. That's like with our retreat, 4 M's. Now I just added updated conference talks, updated experiences. I mean, don't get me wrong. I pulled out my box of talks and I'm sorting and praying. What does he want me to say, right? But does it come back to purpose? Does it come back to the 4 M's? If it doesn't come back to those 4 M's, then it's not for right now. And it
Mhm.
helps kind of keep your mind centered on what is it I'm focusing on, but still you're doing those 3 key drivers that are your brand and your alignment.
Okay. You know, that helps a lot. So I think for the end of my 12 weeks, I want to be ready to go right into my retreat.
Love. Okay, I'm going to put that down. Right into retreat. And oh, this would be so slick, especially if you have people that you want to come in and speak, then you can hand off one of your pieces to them and they can do it in a signature, unique way. And you don't have to come up with it. You
Mm-hmm.
just touch on it, you can umbrella it and you can introduce it, but then they can take it and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
I love.
Yeah,
This is
that's
beautiful.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you.
Hi, Carolyn. Thanks for hopping on today. This was great.
Yeah, thank
Love
you.
you all. Love you, ladies who are watching later. Mwah. All right, we'll see you on Wednesday when we do some breakouts.
Okay.
Love you. Oh, and I should probably say on here, your assignment, the final and finesse your keynote as much as possible by Wednesday. Okay. Even if you've just got it solid, bullet pointed, things like that, that's great. We have to have a solid keynote to work with. And then I will send you that assignment for the website, excuse me, not the assignment, but the website for checking your title. Okay. All right. Love you. See you guys on Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you.
Love you, lady.